So it was a great feeling to have accomplished that, standing there and taking the knowledge that I just learned in one day, 1.5 days from David to actually teaching somebody something. It was an absolutely brilliant feeling. And I could see Dave radiate, basically. He's standing there all chuffed. Um, and I think he knew then that the things that he was going to teach me weren't going to be wasted, and I definitely wasn't going to waste those opportunities. I live my life one day at a time. I don't think, oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow, or I'm going to do this next week. I live one day at a time, and I'm grateful for each day, and I try to fill my days with as much positivity as possible. And I try to learn something new every day, whether it be a couple of new words or something. I try to do that, and I try to better myself. So the third day of that of that particular course, we went into slightly deeper water. We went out to a place called the Cut, which on the Belizean Reef, there is a gap in the reef. It's about 60 feet wide, and in the middle of that 60-foot wide boat channel is a big orange and white buoy, and it has a light on top of it, and at night time that light flashes for the boats that are coming in and out of that cut. It tells us, so you're not going to go over the reef and wreck your boat. So you have to keep to the right of that buoy coming in, otherwise you're going to go over the reef. So in that particular area right at the cut, you had a bit of current, but it was about a good 20 feet deep, 15, 20 feet deep. And it was real nice because it was a little cove, a little coral cove. And it was called Andy's Cut, as Dave called it. I think it was called after some guy. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but he called it Andy's Cut. And so this is where Dave would go and he would teach before we went out the reef, out into the deeper water. And so again, that morning, everybody met at Dave's house at 0800, or just a little before. I had always been down there about 30 minutes early, get a coffee with Dave, learn what was going to go on that morning, have a briefing with him, a safety briefing, learn how to do a safety briefing with people. And then Dave just says, I've got something for you, Cole. And I says, oh, okay. I went out the back, and there's a brand new set of scuba gear. And it was Sherwood. It was the same stuff that David had. And it was a brand new regulator, a brand new mask, a brand new BCD, okay, my own weight belt, a new skin 3mm wetsuit, basically, a black one, and new fins. And my eyes popped out of my head, and a dive knife as well. And he was like, that's yours, Cole. I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, that's yours. He says, you cannot, not look professional. He says, you can't. He says, I don't want that for you. He goes, I was fucking nearly crying. That was probably back then, that was probably about $1,000 American dollars worth of scuba gear. Sherwood were one of the best. And I just like looked at him. And I didn't know what to say. And he goes, don't fucking worry. He goes, you'll work this off. He says, I'll get the work out of you. He says, you'll pay it back. He goes, not in cash. He goes, but blood, sweat and tears. And again, I didn't anticipate it. A big slap in the back of the skull. So Dave was very affectionate to me in that way. He didn't express emotions, like people do these days, where they give each other a hug, or they say I love you, Call, and there's a bromance, we're friends for life, all that type of stuff. Dave's affection to me was a little crack in the back of the head, and you can see that when he did that, he was quite emotional. And so that was just Dave's way of telling me that he did love me, that he did think something of me, and that he did think that I was worth something, because I just thought I was just dog shit, to be honest. I didn't think it was worth anything. I thought it was more a burden on people than anything. But he showed me how it was to live. He showed me how, that it was okay to make mistakes, that it was okay to fall down and get up and learn to walk again. He showed me all these things. Nobody else had taken the time to do this for me. So all this type of affection and stuff was, you know, we as men, I'm a 60s kid. I was born in 64. I'm 60 years old now. And I've seen quite a few changes, but I've seen the changes in people's attitudes. The people in Belize were really open. They were really free. They were really friendly. People today are just fucking suspicious of one another. And it's just not a good environment these days. Dave showed me that it was okay to have faults, not to blame me for anything, but he always guided me in a good direction. He scolded me, that type of thing. Sometimes he would embarrass me. So sometimes I just wanted to reach over and fucking choke the life out of him. You know what I mean? But, that was just Dave, and, he was like my dad. He was like a dad I never had. And it's only now that he's gone that, I realize what he was actually worth to me. But anyway, he gave me this gear. There was $1,000 worth of gear, and I couldn't believe it. So I tried everything on, and I was pretty muscly back then, pretty big, and pretty ripped up and everything, and into my fitness and stuff, and putting that skin on, it was like fucking being in Star Trek. Yet all the, it was black and red, and all it was missing was the fucking USS Enterprise badge and stuff like that. And he always fucking used to take the piss out of me and call me fucking Captain Picard. So, it was good fun. Everything fitted perfectly. And then he handed me a set of Ray-Ban glasses, and I'd never heard of them. And he gave me these and stuff, and he goes, and a baseball cap. And I'd never worn a baseball cap before, and I was kind of embarrassed wearing them. So he gave me a bandana. Give me an American bandana, American flag, and I wore the bandana when I went diving, and it stopped my head getting burned a lot by the sun, even with sun cream and stuff on. So he gave me the scuba gear, and fuck, it was like my Christmas and birthday and Easter, and everything kind of all rolled into one. No, I never got nothing from anybody before. Nobody ever really given me anything. And I couldn't believe that. And he was like, this is your kit, Cole. You fucking take care of it. This is your responsibility for it now, and I fucking babied that stuff like it was my baby boy Connor, I looked after that shit like it was unreal. He taught me how to take it apart, how to put new O-rings in, and, everything to keep it running, how to clean it, and, how to hang it, and, how to put it safely away, and all this type of stuff. And I couldn't believe it at all. So I had my own scuba gear. And, then Dave started to show me how to do the dive briefings. So that afternoon we went out to Andy's Cut. We all did our skills. We all did really well. Dave would have me out beside him, and he would have me demonstrate certain skills that he wanted me to do, because he went over this brief with me before doing it, before anybody got there. So we'd have me doing these skills, and, he'd stand there and he would mark everything off on his underwater slate. He had a plastic slate with a pencil, and he would mark everything off. If he felt that I didn't really grasp something, he would stop me. He would make me hold a slate, and he would demonstrate, and then he would have me demonstrate again. And it was great fun. And so on the fourth day, we went out into the deeper water, into 40 to 60 feet of water outside the reef. Oh, Jesus. Fuck, it was like looking up the sky. The water was blue. There wasn't a ripple, and the water was as clear as anything. And you could see all the way down to the bottom of sand, the coral, and the sand was white. And you could follow the rope from the orange and white buoy. You'd follow the rope all the way down to basically 60 feet where it was anchored into that. So we all got into the water. We all swam to the buoy. We held onto the guideline rope at the back of the boat. We all gave us signals. We'd all, inflated, and then we deflated, and we went down, and we cleared. And then Dave upended and just started swimming down real slow. And we all managed to do this. Some people went down the rope. Dave told him it was okay to go down the rope and to stop and equalize, to make sure that their ears were popping properly. And before we knew it, we're in 60 feet of water, looking up, and you could see the bottom of the boat as clear as anything. And Dave gave us all a few minutes to basically settle, because we were just like looking like this. Our fucking eyeballs were on stalks, and we were distracted by fish, and we were distracted basically by everything. And Dave just gave us a few minutes to do this, and then he tapped the back of his tank with his knife to get our attention, and he just stopped us. You look at me. And then it went from there.